Welcome to episode 29 of Synchronicity. I am your psychedelic psychopomp, Chase Clarence Calloway, and today's episode has been removed from Who Coob. I don't even know if I want to say any word related with the company or corporations that the podcast that has been removed from this platform is related to. So, whatever, I'm going to Juzub, Who's Coob, Flu's Stoob, whatever. The point is, the platform that rhymes with all those words that I just made up has removed this video. It has removed this podcast, so you can only go listen to this podcast on chaseyourgenes.com. And it's removed this podcast from the same reason that they have removed the dislike button. So just know that episode 29 of Synchronicity is removed from Coob, from Juzub, for the same reason that they removed the dislike button. If you're not aware, this platform that we're on has removed the dislike button because the corporations and companies that bought it out don't want us to be able to communicate freely. So that's why we've been going through this whole Plandemic, this pansemic. I can literally so many words, we are not allowed to say these words at this point because the way that Masons have set up the algorithm, they're telling us that we're going through a worldwide epidemic that we're not allowed to talk about. So they make money. They make so much money forcing us to get shot the first time, the second time, the third time. They need to constantly inject us with their serums. But we're not allowed to talk about why they're doing it. This is the internet. This is the atmosphere of Juzub, of Who's Coob, of this platform that we're on. They were bought out by Masons, by corporations, so that they can keep selling you disgusting, demonic, unhealthy ideas. And this is why they'll take me down for fasting, even though they worship the idea of someone fasting. But really, again, when you look at Christianity and Judaism, the whole point is that Jesus agreed to let the government kill him. So all these people who are running the government, the people who teach you what it means to be Christian, what it means to be Jewish, the people who teach you what it means to be black, the people who teach you what it means to be white, the people who are erasing indigenous individuality with English and with this Masonic banking system, the whole point is to enslave you on ideas that make you hate yourself. So this whole government, this New World Order, has actively made money, has actively built its entire empire off of teaching you to be scared of death, teaching you to hate space, and then teaching you to be scared of separating from this body. So now, because they made you scared of death, they made you hate your own space, and they made you want to stay in this body forever, now they're going to trap your mind in the metaverse. See how they have no originality? All Masons can do is steal everything from Mercury, steal everything from Metatron, and pervert it for the opposite reason that it was intended. So Metatron built Mercury as the manager of astrology so that you can learn about your relationship with God. And your relationship with God is simply your relationship with yourself. So because these Masons, this New World Order, these Judeo-Christian colonizers, because they don't want you to have a relationship with yourself, they want to build a system off of genocide, murder, and indigenous slavery overall, then they're going to steal all these ideas, which they have. They stole all these ideas from Egypt and Mesoamerica, and they're going to weaponize them in their form of science, in their form of government, in their form of politics, in their form of entertainment, in their form of business and banking. And then this is how they're going to teach you, which they have all the way up to this point. They teach you to hate yourself. They teach you to be scared of death. And they teach you that you need to work your way into heaven. So now they can use your energy to support, again, genocide. They get to use your energy to do whatever they want because they're teaching you that you need to work for them instead of working for yourself. So now they're inside of this whole atmosphere. This is why they're pushing so hard on the internet that we're not allowed to talk about the crazy worldwide epidemic that we're going through, which is an insane contradiction, right? Another huge Christian contradiction. How are you as a government going to tell us that we're going through something that we're not allowed to talk about, but you are? How come we're not allowed to upload videos talking about the sickness that you're saying we're going through, but you're allowed to upload all the videos talking about the sickness you say we're going through? And how come when we downvote those videos, your next course of action is to just remove the dislike counter? I'll tell you why. It's so they can keep projecting out garbage. They know that people are not buying their lies. So all they can do is take away our ability to talk about how they're lying. So now the whole internet is supposed to be them using algorithms to figure out like who doesn't believe in our lies. Whoever doesn't believe in our lies, we're going to go kill them. We're going to go murder them. We're going to go be evil to them. And it's going to be justified by Jesus. This is literally the mindset of the people who made up this idea. The whole point is to make you scared of the air. So these last 3 years, it's all been a push for the metaverse because their idea of Metatron, their idea of Mercury is enslaving you in nature instead of teaching you how you create nature to connect with others. So you naturally enslave yourself inside of something, but it's always so you can share your idea of freedom with others. So because these Masons are lost and feeling like slaves, they don't want you to feel like you can be happy alone. That's why they steal everything from Hermes and then use his wisdom to teach you that it's impossible for you to be happy alone. That's why Judaism and Christianity actively taught me that I was full of sin when I'm the one who built the system that allows these evil people to act like they're good. And they're the ones who are evil for stealing it from me. So the only sin that I have as Chase is letting people convince me that I'm of sin. And letting people use my creation to teach me that I'm not good enough to be creative when they're the ones causing climate change. This system that made up the metaverse, Bill Gates of hell, and all these Masons that are using the internet to spread genocide, they only matter because they stole a bunch of ideas from Mercury that they don't even understand. That's why they're causing climate change. That's why they're still scared of dying. And that's why they're actively destroying the environment that we have harmoniously created as indigenous individuals up to this point. There's no reason for them to be using technology to poison the world unless the fact that they're just so evil, they want to kill and murder everyone because that's their desire. They feel good spreading misery. Now we see why Europeans need to take over the Americas. Misery needs company. So when all these Christians come to the Americas, they invade it. They say, it's a new world. We found a new world. We can finally be ourselves. And then they steal everything from the people that were there first and then lie about it. We can see, yeah, cool. Quetzalcoatl. All right, the combination of Tahuti and Hermes. Quetzalcoatl is the American. Quetzalcoatl is the Atlantean. But, you know, we'll just go between because I like Quetzalcoatl. I like Quetzalcoatl. But the point is, Quetzalcoatl is the indigenous term and the Masonic term is Quetzalcoatl. So whatever, again, we find the balance because we are living a Masonic life. We're speaking English. So English is a Masonic language. And the whole point of English was to separate all these indigenous individuals that Masons wanted to steal the creations of from their space. So this is why all these Europeans who use Jesus to justify genocide work so hard to force indigenous individuals all throughout South and North America to speak Spanish, English, and Portuguese. In general, just speak Latin languages. Because the whole point is to get us lost in Latin, to get us lost in the law. So this is the colonialism that we're really talking about on this channel as Symmetry, because this is all the decolonization that I have to engage in if we're actually going to stop climate change. These are the conversations that I have to constantly have if we're going to cut up the systems that are separating us from our God, separating us from our space. Because these Masonic matrix systems are actively causing climate change, they're actively causing health problems, and they're actively teaching you to hate yourself so that you don't actually build anything productive. And this is the only way that Masons know how to use your energy to build for themselves. So again, we can see everything I'm talking about in the entire history of North, South, and Central America based on how Quetzalcoatl set up North, South, and Central America as a platform for indigenous individuals to connect and express themselves. And then it was set up to expose the evil of what happens when other individuals, Europeans, come over and they want to use their idea of everything being one God to justify genocide and murder and everything horrible. Because that's, again, the whole history of this country. That's the whole history of the American and European government. And that's the whole reason why they want to force all of us to be scared of the air and be scared of nature. Because they want to destroy nature. They want to turn Earth into Mars. And then they want to trap our minds on the metaverse so we feel like the only cool nature is with Mark Zuckerberg and his virtual fake-ass trees and their virtual fake-ass water and their fake-ass mountains. That Metaverse commercial is so ugly. Notice how they can literally only sell virtual reality with what was already created in real reality. So these white supremacists want you to pay money to let them destroy real reality so that they can trap your mind on virtual reality and then steal all the information from you that you're producing inside of their virtual reality, just like they're already doing with the internet. So they're disgusting, they're demonic, they're evil. And if you want to check out episode 29 of Synchronicity, then visit chaserjeans.com. Otherwise, we know what this platform is about. We know what the government is about. We know what Masons in general are about. All Masons can do is steal everything from Mercury and then use it to do the opposite of what it's intended to do. So when you're tapping into the rootless symmetry, you're getting information straight from Mercury that is sharing with you how space creates structures that allow one space to observe another space. Masons, they steal this and they teach you that because you are the structure, you're not a space. You need to work your structure. You need to make your structure serve them so that your structure can go be happy in a space outside of yourself. Now Hermes has to be here like, hold up. Heaven is only possible when you're happy alone. So there's no possible fucking way that you could work your way into someone else's heaven. That's literally just you working really hard to go to hell. Like you're just working really hard to go to hell. But the only reason people would feel like that's smart is because they're already in hell internally. So this is where spiritually we can't force anyone to connect with themselves, or we can't force anyone to level up past where they want to be. We can't force people to be aware of things they don't really want to be aware of, even though we can, but we can't actually change people beyond how they change themselves. A space has to decide to change themselves before they can create the change that they want to see. So most people, because they're not willing to change themselves, like Europeans, for example, indigenous peoples gave Europeans everything, hoping that Europeans would become more friendly and more loving and more kind. All Europeans did was use love to justify further rape, further lies, further slavery, and steal all the land from indigenous peoples by creating all these treaties. So Europeans actively used treaties to steal land from indigenous peoples, and indigenous peoples let it happen because they kept projecting love where Europeans are projecting hate. So the Europeans, because they hate that indigenous peoples have freedom, they love to consume us. This is why we have minstrel shows. This is why we have blackface. The whole point of Europeans wearing blackface is that they were consuming indigenous people so much, they felt like they could sell what it meant to be indigenous. So again, this is the Masonic mind. These are the people who made up the idea that it's dangerous to breathe the air, and you need to let them inject you with their Captain America, with their Compound V, with all their superhero serums. That's the whole point of all this predictive programming. All their media has specifically set up humans to feel like, oh, I'll become a superhero if I let the government inject me with their fluids. No, you become a superhero by fasting. But they trapped your mind with Christianity and made you think that only Jesus can fast to talk to God, and he let himself get killed by the government that's telling you you need to eat every day and get injected by their shots. So this is the most disgusting, twisted, subconscious programming ever. The Masons have everyone wrapped up in horrible rationalization of genocide and just like the insanest, most insane contradictions ever. And that's why they took down this podcast. And that's why, in general, we as a population are not allowed to talk about the epidemic that we're all going through. We're all sick. We all need to be saved. We're all going through the worst time. But we're not allowed to talk about it. The people who upload videos about their experience in this whole circumstance, those videos get deleted, those videos get taken down. Film Your Hospital, all those videos get taken down. But for some reason, the news can keep projecting out the lies that made people want to go do Film Your Hospital in the first place. So yeah, this is the point of why Masons made up the metaverse. They made up the internet overall so that they could colonize how spirits connect. And the whole point is that they need to weaponize astrology against you. They need to weaponize all the creations of Metatron against you so that they can enslave you instead of teaching you how to love yourself. Because if you knew how to love yourself, you definitely wouldn't let them enslave you. You wouldn't accept the government actively lying and being insanely horrible, not only to you, but throughout their entire history of how they've conquered lands and made their imagination matter. You wouldn't be able to support it if you loved yourself. But the whole point of Christianity and these religions that Masons bring to indigenous peoples is to teach you that you're not good enough. My whole life, I was taught through Christianity that I was not good enough to be myself. I'm not good enough to be the space that built Mercury. I'm only good enough to be a fake child of God, and I need to use my fake child of God energy to serve the real child of God, Jesus, and the real child of God agreed to get killed by the government that has actively brought genocide into my indigenous lands. And now I, as an indigenous man, would have to completely ignore my history to serve a religion that has stolen my ideas to make its imagination matter. It's so twisted here. It's so twisted. So, hey, much love to you. All right, the spiritual warfare is real. Check out our podcast on chaseyourgenes.com. Much love. Peace. I'll see you later. Yeah.